Are you ready to leave yet? I asked, glancing around the nearly empty room. Just waiting for the mover, Snow replied with a sigh. Honestly, it'll be a relief not seeing your face anymore. And changing the locks so meticulously as if I'd break in, that was just too much. I used to wonder why we needed such precautions, but now it all seems trivial. When I first met my husband, he was timid, always worried about what others thought. But after we got married, he turned into the classic henpecked husband. A week after moving into my new place, my husband showed up, frantic. "It's me. Open up," he pleaded. "Huh? Who are you?" I feigned ignorance, facing my frantic husband. "I'm Scarlett, 35, working part-time 3 days a week. It's been 2 years since I married Anthony. We didn't have kids, but I thought we could still be happy together. In the early days of our marriage, we'd spend nights talking about our hopes for the future. Neither of us had much experience with love, so it was tentative at first, but I thought we enjoyed each other's company. Let's be one of those couples who stay close even as we get older." "Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe, 2 kids." That's exactly what I was thinking. A boy and a girl. Really? Me too. Such casual conversations amused me, someone who had little interest in love or marriage. Meeting Anthony came as a surprise. We crossed paths at a party I attended reluctantly, just to fill in numbers. He seemed to be in the same boat, and we bonded over our similar situations, eventually becoming friends. Back then, he was serious and somewhat shy, always considerate towards me, which I found endearing. And then, out of the blue, "Scarlett, will you marry me? I want to make you happy." "What? But we're not even dating yet." "Oh, right." His sudden proposal didn't deter me. Instead, I wondered if maybe it could work with him. "If you're okay with me, then yes, I accept." "Really?" "Absolutely." I still recall Anthony's joy when I agreed to marry him. I believe wholeheartedly that with Anthony, my future could be happy. We tied the knot only 3 months after meeting, a whirlwind for both of us. With our limited romantic experience, we often stumbled through, but that was part of the adventure. Not long after, we moved in together, but after about a month, the gap between my ideals and reality started to become apparent. "Scarlett, there's something I'd like to discuss with you." What is it?" That day, Anthony appeared different, more serious and tense. "I hate to bring this up, but could you consider quitting your job and becoming a homemaker?" What?" His sudden request shocked me. I couldn't fathom why he would ask such a thing. He had never previously mentioned any dissatisfaction with my job, and this was just the beginning. "May I ask why?" I inquired, puzzled by his sudden change. "When Scarlett works, it makes me feel like I'm not needed." "Did someone say that to you?" "It's not that, but all the wives of married men in my company are stay-at-home moms. I had made it clear from the start of our marriage that I wanted to keep working, especially since saving money was crucial for our future." Anthony's sudden insistence on this issue left me bewildered. "But we agreed I would continue working after we got married, didn't we?" "I know, but as my wife, Scarlett, I hope you'll consider my perspective." "Then why not just pretend I've quit? There's no need for me to actually leave my job." I reiterated my reluctance to quit, but Anthony seemed more concerned about social appearances. My attempts to reason with him fell on deaf ears. "Look, if things stay this way, I'll face ridicule from my colleagues and bosses. I'm the head of this household, aren't I? Please just do as I ask." "Either way, I can't make a decision on the spot. Let me think about it." "All right, but please decide soon." Yet I knew I couldn't let things linger. I worried about what might come next if I didn't act promptly. So I sought advice from my boss, Robinson. I had been working as an administrative assistant at the company since I graduated from high school. Robinson herself had faced a similar situation. Her ex-husband had been controlling, and she had eventually divorced him. Now she's a dedicated single mother whom I greatly admire. That must have been tough. I've considered divorce, but it's complicated since we're newlyweds. Yes, I haven't thought about that yet. But if you quit, it'll be hard to find someone to replace you, Scarlett. I'm not planning to quit outright. I want to find a way to continue working, if possible. How about we stick with our current part-time arrangement for now? Going full-time might attract too much attention." "That's a smart move. I'll talk it over with Anthony. If he still opposes it, I'll take Robinson's advice and request part-time hours." "Sounds like a sensible plan. Remember, you can always rely on me for guidance. I'm here to support you as your senior." "Thank you. I really appreciate that." Our conversation continued, and I learned that Robinson's ex-husband had also undergone a significant change after marriage, much like my own situation. It was a revelation. I had never considered the possibility before, but now I realize that some men completely transform after marriage, almost becoming different people. Looking at it from this angle, perhaps I had been deceived. Despite numerous discussions with Anthony, we remained deadlocked. Anyway, isn't it a woman's role after marriage to listen to her husband and manage the household? What era are you living in? Nowadays, it's common for both spouses to work. Maybe for other couples, but we're different. You see that, don't you? I understand your perspective, but I can't agree with it. Please try to see things from my point of view. Following that, Anthony persisted daily until I would concede to quitting my job. Ultimately, his efforts to persuade me fell short. I reached out to Robinson and decided to formally resign. However, in reality, I continued to work part-time, 3 days a week. Thankfully, my boss understood my predicament and allowed me to reduce my hours. I resigned from my job at the company just as Anthony wanted. Really? Thank you. Now I can feel more secure about my position at work. I'm glad to hear that. By now, it seemed Anthony was solely focused on how others perceived him. I couldn't help but feel bewildered by his abrupt transformation. I chose to deceive him, hoping to salvage our relationship, but soon realized it was a mistake. I had hoped starting anew would improve things between us, yet he continued to assert his superiority and direct his frustrations at me. Today, a junior colleague is coming over. I need you to host. What? I had no idea. Sorry, it was a last-minute decision. Just keep it simple. Please get everything ready. Wait a minute. He hung up, so I prepared drinks and snacks for the guests. However, Anthony appeared displeased. Didn't I ask you to prepare for today? You mentioned just keeping it basic, and you took that literally. This reflects poorly on me. I need you to fulfill your role as a wife properly. What exactly does that mean? I did my best. Is there an issue with me? No, not really. Anthony's expression was unlike anything I had seen before. I was so taken aback that I couldn't find any words. From then on, he started inviting guests over almost every week. While he enjoyed himself, he expected me to be on standby, prepared for anything. I think he wanted to impress everyone with how capable a husband he is. Anthony, having guests over every week seems excessive. No, it's fine. Everyone enjoys it, and you should support my decisions. It's your duty as my wife, Scarlett. But it's also expensive. You'll figure it out. Yet Anthony's extravagance showed no signs of slowing down. How exactly am I supposed to manage it? Oh, stop complaining. Whenever I asked a question he didn't like, he dismissed it as nagging and avoided giving a direct answer. Every morning, after waking up, preparing meals, making lunch sandwiches, and seeing Anthony off with a suit ready for his day, I tackled household chores. On days when I worked part-time from 10 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m., there was barely any time to rest. Despite the busyness, I cherished my job, and working often felt like a welcome respite. Scarlett, you seem tired lately. Are you? Yeah, a bit actually. Let me know if there's anything I can do. I'm here to help in any way I can, of course. Thank you, Sophia. You've been such a reliable support. Unlike Anthony, you've noticed how his treatment of me has been deteriorating day by day. Sophia knew about my secret part-time work and kept it hidden from Anthony. I appreciate everything, Sophia. Don't mention it, but I never imagined Anthony would behave like this. Neither did I. I've tried talking to him, but he won't listen, and we can hardly have a meaningful conversation anymore. I'm sorry, if only I were stronger. Don't be too hard on yourself. You're managing work and household tasks admirably. I really appreciate all your help. I'm glad to hear that. Living with Sophia had been nothing but a positive experience for me. However, it seemed Anthony wasn't comfortable with how close Sophia and I had become, and because of that, he made a shocking decision. Where's Sophia? Mom's gone. What do you mean, gone? Mom's getting older, and I thought it would be best for her to be in a facility. You actually placed her in a home. Yeah, just finished settling her into the new place. Now I have the house to myself. I couldn't believe it happened while I was at my parents' home. The fact that he placed his own mother in a facility shocked me. She was injured, but not to the extent that she needed full-time care. He must have sent Sophia away just to have the house to himself. When I visited Sophia at the facility, she seemed surprisingly well. I'm sorry it had to come to this. No, Sophia, it's not your fault. I never expected him to go to such lengths. I'm afraid of what he might do if I resist. I'll miss Sophia, but I'll manage. If you need anything, you're always welcome here. Thank you. Afterward, we moved into my in-laws' house from our previous home. Despite managing the household, Anthony never acknowledged my efforts or showed gratitude. The idea of having children, which we had once eagerly discussed, now seemed completely out of reach. Anthony disregarded me, often preferring to spend his time away from home. On top of that, he began imposing arbitrary rules. No matter how late Anthony returned, I was required to stay awake until his arrival. If I happened to wake up later than him in the morning, he would become upset. What time will you be home today? I'm not sure. Just stay up until I get back, okay? Okay. One day, after a similar exchange, when Anthony returned home, I noticed something unusual as I took his suit to hang it up. There was a fragrance in the air, a sweet feminine scent that was unfamiliar to me. Since I didn't wear perfume, it was unmistakable evidence of an affair. Whenever he came home late, I would catch whiffs of the same perfume. That day, he'd unusually suggested I go to bed before him, raising my suspicions. Quietly, I went to the living room and overheard their conversation. Oh, she's clueless. When are you going to leave her? I'll kick her out soon enough. Their voices carried clearly, especially the woman's, which was quite loud. From their discussion, it was evident their relationship had been ongoing for some time. While the perfume incident hadn't surprised me, I was deeply disgusted. He was still technically my husband, and despite my wishful thinking, his mistreatment of me hadn't changed. It was nearing our 2-year mark of marriage. It's sudden, but I have a business trip. The day after tomorrow, I need you to get everything ready. That's very short notice. I'll be away for about 3 days. Please make sure my clothes are prepared. Got it? I can't believe he could make up such a lie about a business trip. It wasn't a business trip, it was a trip with his mistress. I recall the conversation I had with Anthony's colleague's wife when we met previously. Be cautious if he suddenly mentions a business trip. Our company doesn't even have those. I had already discovered evidence earlier. I found a chat on his mobile phone, left in the living room, detailing how he had taken paid leave for this supposed trip. It marked the beginning of the end for our marriage. Armed with proof of his affair, I intended to confront him with divorce papers upon his return. However, it was my husband who made the first move. Are you ready to leave? The movers will be here soon. That was the first thing he said upon returning home. He instructed me to vacate the house while he was away. I need you to be gone before I get back. What? Why are you saying this all of a sudden? That's exactly what I said. You can't spring this on me and expect me to leave immediately. Then I'll wait a bit, but start preparing to leave. Goodbye. I never imagined my once timid, overly concerned about others' opinions husband would transform into such a submissive partner. But this was the final straw. The future I once envisioned with him now felt like a distant memory. Living with such a man, I couldn't envision a bright future ahead. I wonder what comes next. This could get interesting. Has the mover arrived yet? No need to rush, they should be here soon. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I'm changing the locks on the house. Alright, got it. The thought of not having to see your face again is a relief. I couldn't believe those were his parting words after nearly 2 years of marriage. Convinced our relationship was over, I swiftly left the premises. Soon after, I instructed my lawyer to file for divorce. Despite our circumstances, my husband boldly posted pictures with his mistress on social media. I couldn't fathom his audacity. How could he be so reckless? Not realizing he was providing evidence of his affair, even our mutual friends noticed his strange behavior and reached out to inquire. After leaving my in-laws' home, I returned to full-time work, transitioning from part-time. Additionally, I moved into the suburban high-rise apartment I had long dreamed of. It was spacious for one person, but without Anthony, it felt wonderfully comfortable. I had been waiting anxiously for any sign of contact from him. Then one morning, about a month after settling into my new place, the doorbell rang. Checking the monitor, I was surprised to see Anthony standing there. Hey, it's me, Anthony. Open up, Scarlett. His abrupt demand to be let in was presumptuous beyond belief. I couldn't comprehend his actions anymore. Deciding to feign ignorance, I thought it might be more entertaining than simply turning him away. Who are you? I'm sorry, but I don't know you. Don't tell me you've forgotten your husband's face. I'm not married. I think you've mistaken me for someone else. He appeared desperate, almost on the brink of tears, a shadow of his former timid self from our earlier days. Despite his plea, I stood firm and continued to treat him like a stranger. Please just listen. I've been deceived and I need Scarlett's help. I'm sorry, but I'm not obligated to assist you. If you persist, I'll have to call the police. Seriously. After all, I don't know you. Anthony must have believed I would always be there to resolve his problems. But the person I had become wouldn't entertain such thoughts. Yet my patience was wearing thin with a husband who refused to give up. That's it. You made this mess, so it's up to you to fix it. You don't have to be so tough on me. What? Oh, and by the way, you can't stay at your parents' place anymore. What do you mean? Do you know whose name the house is under? No, but it used to belong to Sophia. Now it's in my name. Why? I explained to Anthony why things had reached this point. Anthony insisted I leave. When I confided in Sophia, even she was visibly upset and disappointed. I can't believe my son has turned out like this. I'm truly sorry, especially after all the help you've given us, Sophia. You're divorcing Anthony, aren't you? Yes, it's for the best. In that case, I'll transfer the house to you. Why would Sophia transfer their rights to their in-laws' house to me? Anthony had no idea he was living with his mistress throughout all of this. That's the situation. Understand and leave promptly. We likely won't cross paths again anyway. Just one more thing. If he persists, I will call the police. With that, he finally relented and departed. Of course, the divorce proceeded as planned and I received the settlement guarantee from him. As it turned out, Anthony had been deceived and financially drained by his mistress. In addition to that, the divorce settlement totaled approximately $20,000. His mistress had promptly abandoned him, but I wasn't about to let it go. I employed both a lawyer and a detective to locate him. I'm also pursuing a divorce settlement claim from him. It appears I can secure over $10,000. Furthermore, ownership of the ass house was officially transferred to me. I had to insist that Anthony leave, and though he initially resisted, legal processes left him no choice but to comply. I'm unaware of his current residence, and frankly, I have no interest. His company also discovered the photos he posted with his mistress on social media. Unable to endure the scrutiny due to his past facade of living extravagantly, he chose to resign voluntarily. The outcome felt inevitable given his true character. If I had one last thing to say, it would be this. I don't dwell on it. I'm divorced now, but I view it as a learning opportunity and opt to move forward positively. My bond with Sophia endures. I intend to concentrate on my career independently and relish life as a single person.